Hi FPL managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this FPL video, I'm going to go through my watch list for game week 5, which is nearly upon us after this international break. I'm going to have a look at some of those players that have been highly transferred in by some FPL managers and those that have been transferred out and give you my thoughts on them. So if you enjoy this sort of video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, let's take a look. There feels like there is only one place to start. We have to talk about Heung-min. He scored a hat-trick away at Burnley in the last Premier League round of fixtures, game week 4. And no surprise, 443,000 plus managers have brought him in. By the time this is recorded, by the time the deadline will have gone, no doubt over 500,000 FPL managers would have brought him in. It does feel to me a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. He hasn't done anything all season. He scores 3 away at Burnley, and all of a sudden he's the talk of the town and everyone is bringing him in. Given he's got a fixture at home to Sheffield United as well, yeah, you can probably see why. His XGI is 0.73, which is decent, absolutely, and he isn't as expensive as he has been in previous seasons. He has got those fixtures away at Arsenal and Liverpool coming up, and that is enough for me to give me a bit of a doubt. He is playing up front, but that was because Richarlison was injured. You would have thought, though, with a hat-trick being scored, he's not likely to not play up front in the next round, but you just don't know what's going to happen. For me, I love Son. He looks like a great player. He's possibly on penalties as well. The fixture against Sheffield United and Luton looked great. With those midfield slots being so precious, I'm not sure I'd want to hold him for Arsenal and Liverpool. So it would be a case, I think, of bringing him in and taking him out. And is it worth it? I'm not so sure. I think I probably will just go elsewhere. But if you've got Son, brilliant, absolutely hold on to him. If you want to bring him in, I think it's just going to be sort of sitting behind the sofa time with my hands over my face, hoping for the best at home to Sheffield United. If he scores 1, I think I'll probably just accept that. He's been brilliant over the course of the last, 7-8 years he's been in the Premiership. I think only in one season, his first season, did he fail to get under double figures in terms of goals scored. So nothing feels like it's changed much for Son. We knew before the Burnley game what a good player he is. We know how he always overperforms against his underlying stats. None of that has particularly changed. We knew what the fixtures were good anyway. The fact that he's got 3 goals to back up those stats, and I guess now he's possibly playing up front in that number 9 position, makes a difference. I would love to have him in. I'm just not sure I want to hold him for Arsenal Liverpool. So I will be looking perhaps in Luton to see if he's still playing up front, if he's on pens, and bringing him in then. But you know what? I'm not comfortable leaving him out the side for Sheffield United. I'm not going to lie. And while we're talking of Tottenham players, the other one that's been brought in heavily as well, 400,000, James Maddison. And again, he's having a great season. 4 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Very similar XGI, but slightly cheaper than Son. Same sort of things apply to him, I guess. And if he was a striker, or if Son was up front, I think, yes, they would be definitely coming into my side. Given there's so many midfield options, I don't know, I'm just not comfortable. At 7.8, I think I'm more likely I feel to bring Maddison in, although he's not going to be as explosive possibly as Son. But 4 games, 2 goals to assists has been brilliant. If you've got him in, absolutely going to be holding on to him and loving the fact that his price is probably rising. For me, I just think I'm going to just hope for the best against the Sheffield United day. He doesn't do anything, and then perhaps look again for the Luton game. I don't think I'll be doubling up on Tottenham anytime soon, but by the time the Luton game comes round, we'll have a lot more information and possibly seen how Tottenham really are going to fare this season, and maybe my opinion will change. Maybe I'll be tripling up on Tottenham, and Maddison and Son will be the way to go. But both of those look really good options. Wouldn't take a lot to argue for me to go against them. Possibly Maddison came in benching for Arsenal and Liverpool. You could definitely play them, but I think other players are likely to outscore them with such tough fixtures. But he's a good option, 0.71. I can see why so many people are bringing him in. It feels more of a knee-jerk reaction for Son. For Maddison, yeah, he just looks like a set and forget, really, for me. Then you've got the likes of Ferguson, who obviously got a hat-trick as well in the game against Newcastle. He looked fantastic, and at 6 million, playing up front, he's one that will mostly interest pretty much all of us. And look at that XGI, 1.01. That is fantastic. He's not going to maintain that He does have a difficult fixture away at Manchester United, so let's not shy away from that. Is this the time to bring him in? He is an enabler at 6 million, so if you are going to downgrade from someone like a Jackson, if you want to get rid of him, and then bring in someone else, a big hitter like a Son into midfield, if you needed the money, I wouldn't say that Ferguson's a bad option. Going forward, his minutes just worry me. With the Europa League coming up for them as well, I think that's the competition they're in. Then, yeah, is Welbeck going to get more minutes? Where will Ferguson and where will De Zerbi's priorities lies in terms of taking competition seriously? And I just worry about Pedro can play up front. Then you've got lots of Unduff. Does Ferguson just play in Europa League? It's just so many ifs and buts and maybes. I'm just not sure I want to take the risk, especially with a difficult fixture away against Man United. Then they do have Bournemouth and Villa away, Liverpool at home. They're not great fixtures. I'll definitely be targeting Bournemouth at home. But would I be guaranteed, confident, 100% that he's going to play in that game? I'm not sure I would. So for 6 million, he's a good enabler. I can see why people are bringing him in. Again, it feels a little bit knee-jerk. For me, away at Man United just doesn't feel like the right time to be bringing him in, though. So for this moment in time, you know what? I just think I'm going to pass. One that I probably will definitely look at, if not this week, possibly in the future, Julian Alvarez, 6.7 million, 400,000 people again bringing him in. What a great season he's having. XGI 0.79. Fixtures look decent. West Ham United away, Forest at home, Wolves away. Then a difficult game against Arsenal, but they are Manchester City. They can just score against anyone. And what I love about Alvarez so far is that he's played every minute of every game in the league so far this season for Manchester City. He seems to have that position owned as much as you can in Pep's side. The fact that he's a forward as well just makes him even more appealing. If, like the majority of us, you have Haaland as I do, having Alvarez up front, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable just having two City players up front. But then how often are they blanking? Very rarely. My own issues is I do have Foden and Lewis as well. Lewis would probably have to come out to enable Alvarez to come in. So it would take two transfers. But Alvarez looks like a great option. I would absolutely have no doubts coming in if anyone wanted to bring him in. West Ham away, I'm probably going to roll, see if they can then take two transfers to take Lewis out. But Forest at home is definitely a game that I'll be targeting. Alvarez absolutely looks like a cracking option to me. Now the other one, which is again I think goes under the category of punts, is Darwin Nunez, 7.4. Last few games he has been fantastic. He's been brought in by nearly 200,000 FPL managers and he looks a good option. He's played 4 games this season, but he has only started the last game. He came off the bench against Newcastle, as we know, got those 2 goals and the 2 assists in the last match they played as well. His XGI is phenomenal. He's not going to keep that up. Wolves away, West Ham at home look like good fixtures. And in game week 9, Liverpool's fixtures really do turn. So the question is he going to play every week? And we just don't know the answer. The good news is they don't have the European Champions League to contend with. But again, what will Klopp do with Darwin in that competition? Will he get rotated with minutes with Jota? You've got lots of Gakpo that can play down the middle as well. So there feels like there's a few reasons why Darwin might not get all the minutes you'd want him to. And it just comes down to the same thing. If he was playing every week, I think, yeah, I'd absolutely love to bring him in. At 7.4, playing for Liverpool up front, underlying stats look good. You know what, I'd have him in every day, but I'm just unsure at the moment about does he play every week. I think he does play against Wolves, and I think he probably does play against West Ham. Is that enough for me to bring him in? The fact that he's a striker as well is appealing, but he's definitely on my radar as one that I'd like to look at. Finally, let's look at a player that has been transferred out by nearly, over 250,000 FPL managers, and that is Nicolas Jackson. 7.2 million, playing up front. He has got 1 goal in his 4 games. His underlying stats look absolutely brilliant. 1.08 is really, really good, but he's just not producing the goods. And as a Nicolas Jackson owner, I completely understand blanking against Forest may have been the last straw for some of you. For me, I think with the underlying stats being so good, Bournemouth away, Fulham and Burnley in the next 4 games as well, those fixtures just look too good for a player who's pretty much nailed up front for Chelsea. And yes, they're not firing, but though, you know what, fixtures are everything to me. He's playing up front, he's nailed, his underlying stats look really good. He is going nowhere for me at the moment. I'm certainly not going to burn a transfer. getting him out, though I can understand the appeal of moving him to go to Alvarez or someone like that. But I would sooner use that third striker slot than get rid of Nicolas Jackson at this moment in time. I believe in those underlying stats. I am not selling him. If you've got him, he's a hold for me. If I'm bringing him in, again, I think possibly not. I would go for an Alvarez instead. But Nicolas Jackson doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm holding on to him for 7.2, especially when you've got Bournemouth away. He's a hold, and I'm definitely keeping him. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you are intending on transferring in for Game Week 5, or are you going to roll it, as I will be potentially doing too as well. We'll come back at you with a team selection before the Game Week deadline. So in the meantime, take care, and I shall speak to you soon.